We are about to embark on an immersive journey through the corridors of our minds. Stand by as we prepare for departure.
Welcome aboard, everyone, to the Productivity with Peace of Mind podcast adventure. Our journey will begin in just a moment. Inhale deeply and exhale. Our voyage takes us on a captivating tour, diving deep into the intricate layers of our thoughts and imagination. Brace yourselves for the complexities of our evolution. For a safe and enjoyable journey, stay seated, secure your helmet and protective goggles, and keep hands, feet, and legs inside while the ride is moving. Now relax and enjoy.
What if reclaiming our health so that we can spend our time and our life now and later doing exactly what we want to do could be so much easier and more simple than we ever imagined? We have an expert with us today who is going to show us exactly how to do that. So, without further ado, let's go to the conversation. Today, we have with us Cathy Council, who's going to talk to us about the amazing power of when we focus on one specific thing for creating that long lasting health and longevity in our life. She's a weight loss and fitness mindset coach who I've been following for a while, and just amazing things that she puts out. And so I'm super excited for you guys to hear from her today because she shares the power of showing up for ourselves and why, like I said, like the one thing or those small little one steps that we take at a time really do add up so that we can take care of ourselves. So, welcome, Cathy. I'm so honored to have you here.
Thank you, Lindsay. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm really looking forward to our discussion today.
Awesome. So, we'll jump right in
Okay.
to kind of looking at health and fitness in a new way. And one of my favorite things I talked to you about, Cathy, was that there's so much more than just that number on the scale. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. Oh, there's so much more than that number on the scale. And unfortunately, for most women, when we look at weight loss, the number on the scale is the first thing that we go to
Yeah.
try to, lose weight. We're looking for that metric to change. We're looking for that number to go down. And the scale is only ever capturing one moment in time, just the 2, 3 to 5 seconds you spend standing on it, and it's like just that second. And
Mm,
we give that number so much power that
yeah.
sometimes we miss all the other ways that the effort that we're putting in is actually changing our body and changing how we look and feel. And when we give that number so much power, we not only miss the things that are changing, it also interrupts our willingness to continue to move forward and make the changes that we want. Because we would love to just eat a salad and then have, a pound come off. Or, I went for a 15-minute walk. Why haven't I lost the weight? But it's really so much more than that. And so I do work with my clients to get on the scale just to kind of work their willingness to face that number, but
Yeah.
also to have a place to start. And then we start to build out all the other ways that they can begin to track and see progress to sort of not only make that number a part of what you do, not the only thing you do, but it becomes a part of how you look at weight loss and your progress.
Yeah, I think one of the most important ones for me as I've made that shift and had different seasons of my own weight journey, I I love looking at like how do we feel in our body versus, like you said, the number is important and it's one piece of data. And I love how you said it's like a few seconds in time. Like the
Yeah,
2, 3 seconds you're standing there, it like really puts it in perspective of like how small that is.
yeah, yeah. And loving how you feel in your body, I will tell you, it makes such a difference. And when I many years ago started this for myself, I went based off how I wanted to feel,
Mm,
right? I chose a number as sort of like a goalpost,
yeah.
but the closer, the more I started doing the work, I really shifted to how do I want to feel? How do I want to look? When I hold out my arms, how do I want it to feel? Or if I, put my hand on my own stomach, how did I want that to feel? What did I want to feel?
Mm,
And how did I want to feel inside my skin? Because you actually
mhm.
can feel, if you're in tune with your body, you can feel when you're uncomfortable in
Yeah.
your skin, right? And so I was like, I want to be comfortable in my skin because that will start to reflect, in how I present myself and what I choose to wear. And we kind of use the word comfortable to mean many different things. Sometimes we're saying, I just want to be comfortable when we're thinking, I just want to cover up. I just don't want to expose.
Mhm.
And I'm helping clients really understand what it means to actually feel comfortable in
Mhm.
your skin, right? Now I just want it to be loose. And what I actually found out, even for myself and many of my clients, we like our clothes to be fitted. We just want them to fit and feel comfortable. And
Yeah.
once we connect with our body, where we actually know what's comfortable for us, everything doesn't have to be a loose, baggy, outfit or, certain materials where we're like, oh, we don't want it to show anything. It's
Mhm.
just we've built so many conditions around comfort based on appearance, based on what we think other people will see, based on, again, that number on the scale. So it's really helping people connect to their body and the true feeling that they have with their body.
Yeah, so important. And I think like even like as we, progress through life and as we start aging, it's like there's so much more to our health than we thought. And that's I think where that longevity piece is so important because it's like how do we want to feel, you know, in 20, 30, 40 years?
Yeah. Yeah. And I can tell you again, when I started, I wasn't thinking about 20, 30, 40 years. I was really thinking about like in the summer, I don't want to be bundled up. I
Mm,
don't want to have to wear, you know, shorts under my dresses, so my thighs. Like it was just
yep.
really, really simple things that I just wanted to be comfortable in my
Mm,
skin in the summer, in the sun. So summer is my favorite season. So I really focused on that. But you're correct. As I aged and evolved and life has changed, I'm like, oh, I'm in my early 50s now. And I'm seeing peers that are like, oh, I have to have, this kind of knee replacement, hip replacement. And I'm like, oh, I want to go into my old age strong and I
yeah.
want to keep his, surgeries to a minimum. And I
Yeah.
want to be healthy so that I can do more of the things for myself. So I look at my mother who is in her 80s, and I actually just recently took her for her annual, and they ask her things like very simple things. Can you go upstairs? Can you do your own laundry? Can you cook for yourself? And these are basic life skills. But as you get older, you'd be surprised at how many people lose the ability just to really have that type of self-care where they're independent. And as I age, I'm like, oh, yes, everything I'm doing now, yes, I want to feel good in my body and I want to look good in my body. But as I age, I also want to have enough strength just to be independent and take
Yeah.
care of myself. And it really starts to, as I've entered this caregiving phase with my mother, I'm like, oh, yeah, I want to be able to do that because even her siblings, that are still living are need assistance. She's fully independent in that
Mhm.
in her physical body where she can do everything, you know. So it's so important to also have that longevity future because sometimes we think of losing weight as again, a moment in time. I'm going to hit this goal number and it's going to be like Cinderella. They're going to hit you over the head and everything's going to be
Yep.
beautiful and wonderful. And you never have to do that again. And it's really like, no, you're creating a lifestyle of how you can live into your senior years. So absolutely.
That's so amazing. And I love that you're able to like learn from other examples of like both what you do want and what you don't want.
Yes. Yes, and that's so important. And I like to think of that learning curve in terms of what you do want and what you don't want
Yeah.
when things don't work. Because sometimes we're so afraid of failing or it not working out for us that we won't even try. But there's so
Yeah.
much knowledge in what doesn't work. Even if it's just, I don't like that. I won't do that way again, but you've learned you can cross that way off your list and now you're getting closer to what could work for you. So yeah, it's important to look at both sides, not only what you do want, but knowing what you don't want. And sometimes I look at failure as a way of me understanding what I don't want or what doesn't work for my body, right?
Mhm.
Because there is a common formula for everything, but how we plug in the variables for our health is going to be different. So something that works really well for you could be as simple as getting up early in the morning and doing your workouts first would not work as well for me because I'd rather sleep in, but I don't mind a 10, 11 o'clock at night workout and then shower and go to bed. So it's the same formula. We're both working out. It's just really figuring out what works best for you. And sometimes you figure that out by trying it. I've tried the 5 a.m. workouts. It's not good. It never works.
I
It never
know.
worked for me. But when I opened myself up to it being okay for me to get that workout in at the very end of my day, then all of a sudden I was able to work out more. I was able to be more consistent. It was motivating to me actually to know that after I finish this workout, I'm going to hit the showers and go to bed and I'm going to
Yeah.
sleep really good. So that motivated me. Whereas getting the idea, just the thought of getting up at 5 in the morning was
Yeah.
just such a struggle. So I do believe it's great to learn from the failures and as
Mhm.
well as from identifying what you want and keep taking steps in that direction.
Yeah. I love that you shared that example because I remember when you posted on social media, it was something like I never thought I could be the person that, works out at 5 a.m.
Yes,
and I'm still not. And I was like, yes, I feel understood.
exactly. It's like, and I was right. I will not be that person. And
Yeah.
it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
So yeah, but that was something I learned the hard way. There were maybe a solid 3 months where I really tried to be, and no one liked me for those 3 months. And I was sleepy in the middle of my day because I
Yeah.
just had to really work with my body and my chemistry. Like working out, I want to rest after I work out because I work out, you know, whatever all that energy I burn. And then it's like the relaxation when you come down, I'm like, oh, I need to rest. So at night, it's
Yeah.
beautiful for me. And so I encourage people to, find what works for you. I'm going to give you the formula, but I'm not going to give you like a diet or a thing to follow. There are some universal rules around, calories in and calories
Yeah.
out. But there's also hormones. There's also sleep cycles. There's
Mhm.
also stress levels. There's all these other things that will factor in. And once you learn what your combination is, and you're willing to fail through it by trying it and figuring out what doesn't work, once you know what does work, all you have to do is just keep repeating it and keep going because
Mm.
then it's going to work for you, right? So it's a great way to rule things out.
Yeah, I love the permission that that gives us to really like figure out what does work versus like trying to force yourself into someone else's idea of, what we're supposed to do or how we're supposed to show up.
Yeah.
And even to your point of in the middle of the day you were tired, it's not only a struggle during that time that you're doing it, it's not affecting the rest of your day. So you're like
Yes.
losing even more time.
Yes. And then on top of that, I was indulging in more sugar, more caffeine to try
Yep.
and stay awake
Yep.
in the day instead of just letting myself go about my day naturally and then doing the workout at the end and getting sleep. Yeah. So it really can snowball if
Mhm.
you try to force yourself because out there in the world is this idea that the 5 a.m. club, you get up, you get it out of the way and your whole day. And I'm like, that works for a lot of people. It doesn't always work for me.
Yeah.
And I really got into this by trying to figure out what works for me because I was also, when it comes to eating, a very picky eater, had a lot of allergies, and
Mhm.
there were some things I just couldn't eat just but how they smell or how they look. And so it was like telling me to, have a salad when I only really liked three salad ingredients at the time was
Mhm.
really difficult.
Yeah.
So figuring out what was my best combination,
Mm.
right? And of course, evolving and growing it from there. I just couldn't jump in. We often want to go up to the top and like
Yeah.
jump off, as opposed to just taking our steps
Yeah.
that will get us there still. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah. So good. And that is kind of, I think, one of your specialties from what I've seen is like, how do you take that first small step or do like that first one thing to get you started? Tell us about that because I love that the way that you do that and you make it feel so easy.
Yes, yes. And it is where one thing I love the most because it is the best way to build consistency is
Hmm.
to start with one thing. And really, most of us think, okay, that one thing needs to be significant. It needs to be challenging. It needs to, and
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it needs to be easy. It needs
Yeah.
to be something that you're in your mind, when you think of doing it, you're like, I could totally do that. Because on the day that, you don't feel like it has to be easy enough that even though you don't feel like it, you can you have no reason not to do it, right? And there are many times where I feel like I do not feel like going for a walk. I don't
Hmm.
feel like it. And I could be like, okay, I can just go to the corner. I can just put my
Yeah.
sneakers on. It's so much easier to get myself there because it's an easy ask. I
Yeah.
don't feel like, heating up my food. I want to order it. And it's like, really? It's in the kitchen. It's already made. I can heat it up. So I can start to have the conversation with myself in
Hmm.
a way to actually do the things that I don't feel like doing. And
Yeah.
so if you're going to choose the one thing, you want to make it something that is simple enough that when it's time to actually do it, and your brain is going to tell you, we don't want to do this, that
Yeah.
you are prepared enough to kind of counter that conversation in your head
Yeah.
with, is it really that big of a deal? We're talking about 1 minute. And so I often do challenges
Mhm.
for my clients and, on my social where I'm asking you to do one exercise
Yeah.
for 10 reps and I'm doing it in the video. So, it's taking like a minute
Hmm.
and half of that minute is you watching me doing it and the other half is you doing it.
Yeah.
And it's keeping it really simple because sometimes in our day we're like, oh, I don't have time to work out and I don't have time to do anything. And I'm like, you got time for 1 minute? And once you build that habit, most of the time, people that do these things with me are like, oh, well, I did that. And since I was already there, I went ahead and I did more. Or
Yeah.
since I was already in the kitchen prepping this, I went ahead and prepped that for tomorrow. And so you can start to see how if you just focus on the one thing to help you get started and it's simple and easy,
Yeah.
then you will start to evolve where you're able to do more and more and more. And your baseline of what is considered easy gets steeper and steeper,
Mm,
right? So, what I started with one simple thing right now, when I look at what I consider baseline, most people would be like, oh my gosh, how do you do
yeah.
all of that at the baseline? I'm like, because, at one point it was just one thing, it was just the one little
Mm.
thing. So, that's the best place to start with anything actually, but certainly in your health and your wellness, we think I got to cut everything out, and you will go into immediate rebellion if you take out your favorite foods.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, right. When I started, I was a very hardcore soda drinker, and
Mm.
I would drink soda. I didn't drink coffee. I would start my day with soda. Like I was so into it. And when I first started working on my own self, I was like, okay, soda has to stay in. How can I do
Mm.
this? And I really worked my way to, okay, you don't need 4 a day. Maybe you could just do 3.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 2. Maybe it's just the can. Maybe it's those cute little mini cans. Maybe it's only on the weekends. But before you know it, like now, I haven't had a soda in like 9 years, I think. I
Whoa.
won't even consider it. But it started with me just being willing to first figure out where I was and then make a little change. Very easy. Like it didn't hurt me to not have the fourth one that
Yeah.
day, right? I can if I already had 3, it just didn't hurt me to not have, the one extra one. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I can do that. So I try to help people get started because when they think about being consistent, they think about like the longevity of it. Oh, I got to do this forever. And I'm like, really? You just have to take a step today.
Mm.
That's it. And when tomorrow comes, you're doing the same thing. You just have to take a step today.
Ugh.
But if you start in the moment and you're thinking about, where you got to be 3 months from now, you're going to overwhelm yourself. And
Yeah.
so that's why I like to help people keep it simple, keep it easy, and then just start. And when you learn how to have that conversation with simple and easy, it gets easier and easier, even when bigger things need you to really engage. So,
It's so exciting, like, because, like, on one hand, it's like exciting because you're like, oh, it's actually okay to start simple. Then, of course, the inner critic is like, but then it's not going to be enough. It's not going to make a difference, right? But
yeah,
then you're telling us that actually, incrementally over time, it's actually like your baseline grows. So it will actually, what feels easy is actually having a bigger impact over time because it's growing. So it's like empowering of like, yes, I can start here. It's going to feel better and I can do more. Like I will just naturally do more later.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's what we have to kind of work on the inner critic, having a response to that.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes even when it's simple and easy, it's like, okay, so it's like, well, that's not enough. It's like,
Yeah.
well, then we can still do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes it's like, well, that's not enough. We won't do anything.
Yeah.
And it actually takes you away from your goal. But if you've learned to sort of have that conversation where it's like, it's not enough, it's like, okay, well, let's do it. And then what else can we do? Now, I always encourage if you do the challenge and you're like, oh, that's not enough, well, do 3 sets, do it
Yeah.
again, right? Until it feels like enough. But the point is, you set the baseline accessible to where
Hmm.
you are willing to do it, even when you don't feel like it. And you know how to go from not feeling like it to actually doing it and getting it done.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think like we kind of touched on this already and you told a little bit about like, how your perspective of why you were doing what you were doing, changed over time. But
Hmm.
I think it's important to, you know, look at a little bit deeper on like how that can change for us of like your reason today might not be the reason that it is in 5 years or 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the exercises that I do with my clients is actually helping them, even in the beginning, identify the main reason, but also the many supporting reasons
Oh,
that
cool.
are there for why they want to lose weight or get fit, right? Why do they want to do that goal? And I also really want to help everyone destigmatize. If you want to lose weight and get fit because you want to look good, and it's considered like a vanity reason, or you just that works for you, go for it.
Yeah.
Because it's just one of the many reasons, and you have to do the same work to look good as you do to get healthy, right?
Mm,
You still have to eat better. You still have to move. You still have to take care of yourself and get sleep and drink water. You have to do all the things.
yeah.
But if you're not motivated today by a societal appropriate reason like
Yeah.
healthy heart, and but you are motivated because you know your 30th high school reunion is coming up and you want to fit into a dress, then let that be the starting motivation. If you take the time to say, yes, this is the start, this is going to motivate me, you can also see as you grow, like the other reasons. I certainly started because I had this picture of me in high school in the courtyard wearing a crop top and short shorts. And I was like, yes, that was peak Cathy. I want to look like that again. I felt really good then. I didn't think about what I was eating. I didn't think about what I was wearing. I didn't have to have layers on, all of the things. That was my starting motivator. And
Mm,
then a few years into my journey, I lost a relative who was 1 year younger than me.
mm,
And then that was my motivator. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to live. Like,
yeah. Mm,
I thought they were actually healthier than me, but they passed away. And so then my motivation, that became the front runner motivator. It's like,
yeah.
okay, I want to live. I want to be here for my son. I want to, really not just look good on the outside. I want to be healthy so I can live longer.
Yeah.
And that was my motivator for a while. And then as I, age and take care of my mom, I'm like, oh, I want to be not only healthy, I want to be independent. I want
Yeah.
to be able to still live in my own house. I want to still be able to, take care of my basic needs. I want to be able to do that for myself.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that I still don't want to look good. That reason is still there for me.
Yeah.
But so is the health reason. So is the desire to be to live longer and to live independently. And so I think your reason doesn't have to carry you from here until, forever. It's what gets you started and just being in tune with yourself when a new motivator comes along.
Yeah.
So, and I think allowing yourself to have multiple.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
do.
can't find my one true reason. It's like, no, find all the reasons. And then which is the one that's going to get you up today?
Yeah. Then you have like multiple to pick from
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
one doesn't work.
When one doesn't work, it's like, today's a sweatshirt day. I don't care what I look like. And then it's
Uh-huh.
like, oh, but I don't want my knees creaking when I get up off the couch. Maybe I should go. I want to make sure that I can still move independently or whatever it is. Yeah.
And so not only does our, why change or our reasons build, right? That pile
Yeah.
grows, but also we evolve, right? And we have kind of these stories we tell ourselves about like who we are and what we can do and different expectations we have of ourselves. I think those can also evolve over time as well.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why it's okay if, your reason changes. And it's okay if it starts from, what some people might say is like a vanity place. That is fine. Because as you evolve, as you change, as life changes, as your career changes, if you have kids or not, if you have an injury that's unexpected,
Mhm.
if you find out about a condition that you didn't know you had before, and now you need to take care of it. It's important to just allow that life is going to change. And that's why I like to teach consistency in this way from the one small thing, because it allows for you to still manage that while life is happening,
Yeah.
right? Things you can have a hectic season of life where everything's going on. Things are changing at work, things are changing at home. You're not feeling as well. But if you figure out what these small things are, and you've learned the habit of creating one small change and letting it compound through consistency, then you will constantly be able to adapt to life as it happens. And it allows you to continue to grow and evolve without being very stuck in your ways, which I feel like is one of the misconceptions of being consistent. It's like it's routine. It's the same thing over and over and over. It never changes. It's got to be perfect. You can't
Yeah.
skip a day. It's these types of myths around consistency, but consistency is ongoing, right? The timeline may just elapse. It may just be longer, but we are all capable of being consistent. And I firmly believe that we all are consistent. We
Mm.
just really have to look at what are we being consistent with, and then use these tools that I teach to help you shift to be consistent about the things you really want in your life and not being afraid to go for that.
Well, yeah, and I think like a lot of times too, like, if we like miss a day or a few days, or if now some, like you said, an injury or an illness, and now I have to move differently, but you're still moving.
You're still moving. Yeah. Yeah. I've had in the last couple of years a couple of injuries, the most serious being a torn Achilles. And that pretty much walking was out,
Yep.
right? And at the time I was a runner, I was a walker, most of my favorite, activities was outdoor activities, but I had to have surgery, I had to be in a cast, I had to actually relearn how to walk. But I just shifted to, okay, what can I do? What is
Yeah.
the one small thing that I could do? Obviously, I'm going to do all the healing all
Yeah.
the training that I need to do to not personal training, I'm sorry, the physical therapy I need to do.
Huh.
I'm going to do all of that, but what about the rest of me? So I shifted. I became like an upper body person. I made sure that I was using the crutches because that's more work than using the scooter.
Uh-huh.
I worked on doing single leg things. I had one good leg. I learned how to balance. So there's always that willingness to figure out what that one thing is, um, even if circumstances seem super challenging. And that's not to say I didn't rest, because when they were like, sit down, elevate, don't do anything, I did that too. And
Yeah.
it's just like, how do you reintroduce things? And it comes back to the way I teach you how to start and the way you learn how to be consistent. You figure out what that one small thing is, and then
Mm.
you do it and you celebrate that one small thing to keep you going. So, yeah, please do not think consistency means perfect. That's that is probably the biggest misconception. It doesn't mean perfect.
Yeah.
I define it as what you do more often than not. And on
Mm,
balance, if you're doing it more often than you're not doing it, you're being consistent with it.
yes. Oh, so amazing and so empowering. Like I just love how it puts the control back in our hands. And so I'm just so thankful for your time here today, your presence with us,
Yeah.
and just sharing this wisdom with us in a distilled way that makes it so accessible and simplified and like there's no more excuses. We can absolutely do what we want to do to reach those health goals so that we can live the way we want to live, whether it's, I want to look good in a bikini or I want to, live a long
Yeah.
life, be able to still, put my suitcase on the overhead compartment on the plane myself when I'm
Yeah.
80.
Yeah, absolutely. And whether it's what you want to do now, like you want to start a business or you want to move up your corporate ladder, you
Yeah.
want to be healthy through that. You don't want
Yeah.
to get there and break down
Oh,
because
yeah.
you've ignored the health. So
Mm,
it's even in this current moment, it's like I want to
yeah.
be here for my children. I want to be able to work and then go out with friends rather than just be so tired I can't do any of that. Like, I want you to really think about the small moments where consistency can help you actually have more flexibility and freedom to do those things as well. Definitely the longevity, definitely, the independence in your LD years, but bring it home to where you are right now,
Yeah.
right? To being able to be consistent so that even when you are having a bad day, things are still getting done because you've already built so much consistency
Yeah.
around your habits and what you want for your life that that's now what's on autopilot, even if there are things that are like disrupting your normal day. So it can benefit you now and compound and benefit you
Mm.
later. Absolutely.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. What would you say is the one thing that you want us all to walk away with either knowing or considering or to go do right after we're done listening to this?
That is such a good question. And I would say the one thing I would offer is to really maybe think about what are you consistent with now? And the way you find that is if you just look at your last week.
Yeah.
If you've done something 4 out of 7 days, you probably are consistent with that thing. Do you like to drive the same route? Do you like to shop the same grocery stores? Do you basically get the same thing for lunch from your favorite place? There's so many ways to look at it. Do you cross your legs the same way? Do you get ready in the morning the same way or end your night the same way? There's so many things where we are already consistent. So find where you're consistent now and then figure out, are those things helping me get what I actually want? And
Yeah.
at one point they might have, but like I said, consistency evolves with you. What
Yeah.
happens is if we don't learn to let go because we're tied to the one thing versus the process of being consistent,
Yeah.
then we get stuck and it no longer fits us. So if you're
Mm.
feeling stuck, it's probably you're being consistent with things that don't match where
Ah,
you want to go. So identify your consistency, the things that you're doing now, figure out if it matches where you want to be. And if not, choose one small thing. So small that your brain is going to be like, this doesn't even count. So small that you'd be willing to do it
mm.
immediately.
Yeah.
Then go do that and then do it again tomorrow.
Mm.
That is like how you start to build consistency. So that would be the one thing that I would offer you to really figure out immediately following this, pick that one thing, and then maybe watch yourself for a week. See if you start to build consistency with something small and simple.
Oh, so cool. What a gift. And if, for those who want to get a hold of you or reach out to you or find you, how can they do that?
Yes, I am on Instagram at Cathy Council Coaching all together. And my website is cathycouncil.com. So you can find me. I'm also on Facebook, Cathy Council Coaching.
Beautiful. And we'll link that below so you guys can find her. And just thank you again, Cathy. This was absolutely amazing and such a gift.
Oh, thank you. It was my pleasure. I love these discussions. I love being consistent and I love helping people really target their consistency to what they want to do, which is to look good and feel good and enjoy their life.
Thank you for braving the inside of your mind with me. The better we understand ourselves, the more deeply we understand the world, and as our awareness grows, life just gets better and better. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to leave a review and share this with anyone else you think could benefit from listening. A quick reminder that the content shared in this podcast is for informational purposes only. I am not a licensed therapist, and the discussions here are not a substitute for professional advice. If you're dealing with a specific issue or need personalized guidance, please consult with a qualified professional. Your well-being is important, and this podcast is simply a platform for sharing insights and experiences. I appreciate you spending this time with me. Until next time.